He didn't look like someone who could sell time. No glowing clock behind him. No mysterious trench coat. Just a small antique shop at the end of a quiet street with a sign that read, Repairs and Restorations. Elena only went inside because it started raining. The bell above the door chimed softly. The shop smelled like wood polish and old paper. Clocks ticked in uneven rhythm from every wall. Some loud, some barely audible, some broken. The man behind the counter didn't look up immediately. "You're late," he said calmly. She blinked. For what? For something. She assumed it was a joke. "I'm just hiding from the rain," she replied. He nodded slowly, as if that confirmed something. "Most people are." She wandered through the narrow aisles. Pocket watches in glass cases. Grandfather clocks standing tall like silent witnesses. Tiny alarm clocks with chipped paint. Time everywhere. She stopped in front of a small brass clock. It had no numbers, just smooth metal and a single thin hand. "How much?" she asked casually. The man finally looked up at her. "That one isn't for sale." "Why not?" "It doesn't tell time." She laughed lightly. "Then what does it do?" He studied her face carefully. "It gives it." She frowned. "Excuse me?" He stepped around the counter and walked toward her. His movements were slow but deliberate. "Everyone who walks in here wants more of it," he said quietly. "Time. A second chance. An extra year. One more conversation." She crossed her arms. "This is some kind of marketing strategy, right?" He ignored the question. "You lost someone recently." It wasn't a guess. Her expression changed before she could stop it. "That's not your business." "No," he agreed. "But it is your regret." The shop suddenly felt smaller. "How do you know that?" she whispered. He gestured toward the clock. "Buy it. You said it's not for sale." "For you it is." She hesitated. "How much?" 3 minutes. She stared at him. 3 minutes of what? He held her gaze. 3 minutes of your life. Taken now. Given back when you need them most. Her heartbeat felt louder than the clock's. "This is ridiculous." "Yes," he agreed calmly. "But you're still considering it." She didn't know why she did it. Maybe grief makes people irrational. Maybe hope does. She handed him her watch. He removed the small brass clock from the shelf and placed it in her hands. 3 minutes, he repeated. The clocks in the shop ticked once. All at the same time. And then, everything went silent. When she blinked, she was standing outside in the rain again. No antique shop. No sign. Just an empty brick wall. The brass clock was in her hand. The thin hand had moved slightly. 3 small marks etched into the metal. She checked her phone. 3 minutes missing from the current time. Gone. That night, she placed the clock on her bedside table. It didn't tick. It didn't glow. It just waited. And she couldn't shake the feeling that one day, when she needed it most, it would give something back. For weeks, nothing happened. The brass clock sat on her bedside table like an unfinished sentence. It didn't tick. It didn't glow. It didn't move. She almost convinced herself she had imagined the shop entirely. Stress, grief, a hallucination born from too many sleepless nights. But every now and then, when she glanced at it, the thin hand had shifted slightly. Not much. Just enough to remind her it wasn't ordinary. She avoided touching it. Until the call came. It was late afternoon. Unknown number. She almost ignored it. Something told her not to. "Is this Elena?" The voice asked gently. "Yes. There's been an accident." The world narrowed instantly. The voice continued, words blurring together. "Hospital. Critical condition. Immediate family only. Her father." The drive felt endless and too short at the same time. Traffic lights stretched seconds into hours. Every red light felt cruel. By the time she reached the hospital, a nurse was already walking toward her. "I'm sorry," she began. Elena didn't hear the rest. Her knees felt weak, her chest hollow. She arrived too late, or so she thought. When she stepped into the quiet waiting room, something pressed against her palm. She looked down. The brass clock. She didn't remember grabbing it. The thin hand was spinning slowly now. 3 small marks glowed faintly. Her heart pounded. She didn't think. She pressed her thumb against the face of the clock. The world shifted. Not dramatically. Not with bright light or sound. Just a subtle pull, like the air inhaling sharply. She blinked. She was standing outside the hospital again, her phone in her hand. The screen read, 4:12 p.m., 3 minutes earlier. The call had not yet ended. The voice was still speaking. He's stable for now, but you should come as soon as possible. She didn't hesitate. She ran. No checking traffic. No pausing. No waiting. She reached the hospital room just as the nurse stepped out. He's awake, the nurse said. She stepped inside. Her father was pale but conscious. His eyes found hers. You made it, he whispered. She swallowed hard. I wasn't going to miss this. They had 3 minutes. 3 fragile, priceless minutes. He squeezed her hand weakly. I'm proud of you, he said. Words he had never spoken so directly before. She leaned closer, memorizing the sound of his voice. When the monitor beside him beeped differently. When doctors rushed in, she didn't panic. She already knew. The world pulled again. Gently, she was back in the waiting room. Time restored to where it had first broken. Her phone buzzed. For 15 p.m., the nurse approached her. I'm sorry. This time there were no extra minutes. No rewind. She looked down at the brass clock. The 3 marks were gone. The thin hand had stopped. Completely. She pressed her thumb against it again. Nothing happened. She closed her eyes. 3 minutes. That's what she had bought. Not to change fate. Not to save him. But to say goodbye properly. Later that night, she walked past the brick wall where the antique shop had been. Still empty. Still silent. But as she turned to leave, she heard it faintly. Ticking. Somewhere behind the bricks. And a quiet voice in her memory. Everyone who walks in here wants more of it. She looked down at the silent clock in her hands. Sometimes more time isn't about altering the outcome. Sometimes it's about being present for the last 3 minutes you didn't know you'd get.